Ladies and gentlemen, this is Women's Empowered Podcast, and I'm here with Amanda. Hi, Amanda.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing awesome. It's
Uh,
sunny in Nashville today, so that always makes me happy.
right? Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure. I am almost 33 years old. I'm married, been married for 9 years almost. Have two dogs. I live in Nashville and I'm a health and fitness coach. I help people get set up with nutrition programs and fitness programs and kind of like I'm kind of like their support and accountability partner and just like root them on through that process. And I help people all over the US, Canada, UK, and it's awesome. Um, and yeah, so that's pretty much like what I do. I also have a podcast that I co-host with a friend of mine. Um, and it's kind of like a comedy podcast where we shoot the shit and cuss a lot, but like talk about wellness and mindset and just like figuring life out and dating and relationships and all that kind of stuff. So,
I got you. That's cool.
yeah.
And that's Girl Go Feed Yourself.
Yes.
All right. Where did that come from?
Uh, so it was originated because my partner Shanna went to integrative nutrition school, and one of the things that they studied or philosophies was like feeding, like how your nutrition is not just your nutrition, like how you feed yourself is more than just your food. It's also, your fitness, your mindset, your relationships, like how you're like what's going in your mind, what's going in your mouth, also like what's going into your body as a whole and feeding yourself in different areas. So that's like kind of why we talk about all those different facets, because wellness is so much more than just fitness. It's not about weight loss. It's not about like, I mean, yeah, having weight loss goals is cool and all, but it's a holistic journey, and all of these other things play a huge role. And so that's kind of where that came from.
I got you. It's actually 100% true. I know even for myself, like if I'm not in a good mood, in a good place, and I've had a long journey when it comes to that. And finding like that medium and taking care of myself, taking care, and it rotates throughout the whole thing. Like if you're not socially taking care of yourself, then you're not going to be eating correctly. If you're not exercising and taking care of your body, then you're not going to be doing the other things. Like, absolutely.
Yeah.
I got you. So, how do you feel about organic and inorganic?
I think that is a loaded question. I wish it wasn't like so much more expensive, because like people who can't afford it or like they feel marginalized, and it's like not fair. Um, and I will say there was a time when I couldn't afford it and I shopped at Walmart and I just did my best,
Yeah.
I feel like eating vegetables, like just let's eat more vegetables and not like care so much about it, especially if you can't afford it. Um, but there definitely are some vegetables and fruits that are you should get organic versus like others. So there's something called the Dirty Dozen, Clean 15. Is that what clean? I think it's Clean 15, Dirty Dozen. And basically, if you just like are looking at your fruits and vegetables, if they don't have an outside skin, my kind of thought is like if they don't have an outside skin, I'm definitely getting organic,
Right.
because it's like the different pesticides and things that they put on it, and they're not like they're chemicals like man-made in a lab, like that have killed people. I mean, if you look at when they're spraying the stuff on the conventional farms, like they're in full on like spacesuits, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like, why should that be on your food, the things that you're consuming? And I feel like, and I'm not a scientist by any means, but like it's an organic compound, like your food. And just like our bodies have cells, our foods have cells, and like what goes into that affects the cell, right? So like thinking about all the chemicals that are being poured into that organic, living thing, it's like taking it in and it's affecting it somehow. I mean, I don't know exactly how, but I just feel like we shouldn't chance it.
Right?
But that's kind of like my thought. I'm not like a Nazi about it, but like if you can't afford it, you should go organic. If you're just trying to eat healthier, like just at least eat some fruits and veggies, like start somewhere. And I feel like once you're in that lifestyle, you start to make your groceries more of a priority and stop trying to cut corners in that area, and budget for it, because you're like, oh, I feel good. Like, and then you start learning. It's like a slow step-by-step thing. As you go through your wellness, you start to have more awareness and more awareness. You ask more questions, and then you're like, oh, so I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I went from somebody who like ate McDonald's every day, and I thought tuna helper was healthy because it had tuna in it. And so I had zero clue. And if I ate a vegetable, like, yay for me. But then and that was like, I don't know, like 14 years ago. So like, as I started going through the process, I started asking more questions, getting more curious about the nutrition and like where it came from and just like things like that. It was a slow process over time, and I didn't rush it or stress about it, if that makes sense. If you just like, I feel like just do your best and forget the rest, and know that like it's a day by day, step by step process, and in your elevation and nutrition and stuff.
Absolutely. That completely makes sense. Plus, you can't put your body into shock just going from McDonald's and hamburger helper to a salad every day. Like your body will freak out going like, what's going on?
You'll definitely, I mean, no matter any lifestyle change, you definitely have some like withdrawal.
Yeah.
It's a real thing. I mean, if any, like I started by just drinking a gallon of water a day. I drank only Coke. Like I never drank water. I drank Coke and Dr. Pepper and sweet, sweet, sweet iced tea. I don't know that I ever drank water. And so I just started drinking a gallon of water a day and, stopped eating McDonald's for every meal. And that really helped a lot, just like that simple shift. And then I feel like it just, yeah, like slowly starts to happen. But my treat meal every week was McDonald's for like a couple months. I still give
Yeah.
myself a little something. But now you won't ever catch me at McDonald's, but you know.
I got you. Um, are you reading any books lately? Are you a big reader?
Yeah, I listen to a lot of books. Um, I actually have a paper book that I'm listening, a real life book that I'm watching, wow, that I'm reading, Super Attractor by Gabby Bernstein. Um, it's pretty good. And I mean, so I don't know. Here's my bookshelf.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So sometimes I'll just like, I'm kind of one of those people who bounces around a lot. I'm
Uh-huh.
like, what do I need today? Like I usually read for some kind of reason, like if I'm trying to improve in my leadership or trying to improve my wellness or trying to improve in some area of my life. I'm like, well, maybe I need to get my ass kicked right now because I'm being a lazy ass. Like I need some sort of drive from somewhere. And I'll like look on my bookshelf and I'll grab something, or I'll look in my audio library and grab something. Can you hear the destruction that is happening? I'm so sorry.
I do. Are these your dogs?
Of course. Every single time. Like, he hates me. So yeah, like the paperback book I'm reading, I'm bouncing between a couple. I'm reading Gabby Bernstein, Super Tractor. I'm also reading like a spirit guide book,
Yeah.
which I'm really interested in, like connecting to my spirit guides. I'm
What's
slowly
one?
reading through that. So it basically talks about like how when we're born, we're given like a guardian angel and like have other guides like angels around us. And it's like a whole new concept for me. I kind of shut off my spiritual side for a while. Like I believe in energy and like the universe and all this stuff, but angels and things like I'm like, okay, you know. I'm a very scientific person, and also at the same time I'm like energetic, and like I fight with myself on these things because I'm like, what will be, the universe provides, but then I'm like, it makes no sense, I can't see it. I'm like, I battle myself, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to embrace my soft feminine, you know, what you can't see, there's things, powers that be side, if that makes sense. So it talks about like your spirit guides and connecting with them and like your angels and like the archangel Michael and all of those angels, Raphael, I don't know how many there are. But I'm just like slowly going into that, and you know, just dipping my toe in some books I listen to, like 10x rule, if I need a good ass kicking from Grant Cardone, is a good one. Yeah, I mean, I'm never on one
Yeah,
thing. But
me neither, actually. Um, I actually just started listening to a lot more like I will admit for years I never really read, never really listened to books.
mm-hmm.
I was all like music and nothing else. But my husband actually encourages me with that because he reads and listens to audiobooks and all of that. So in starting this podcast too, I was like, well, I think I should read and look at things more. So actually the library has an app. So it's kind of like a Kindle. So you can just check books out on the app. You can read them or you can do audiobooks. So I've got about like 5 different ones right now that I'm listening to.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely nice. And then it's kind of like helping, like you said, into everything else. Like I feel better. Like, and it
Mm-hmm.
also that's like my brain relax time when I get to listen to my book because I have 3 kids.
Mm.
I've got a 14, 10, and a 2-year-old, so I'm
Okay.
constantly busy. And that's like my relax time when I get to stop and listen to my book.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of helps relax my brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, I do mostly like personal development, but like before I got into like the self-help world, I and I think there's a big, before I go on, there's a big stigma about that because people are like self-help, ooh, I don't know, like people are like, oh, you're broken, you need help, or you know, people have, there's like a weird stigma with it, and I'm just like, I think there's just a misconception because the way I look at it, or at least the books that I read or listen to, it's like from people who I respect and want to learn from, and like who have changed their life. Tony Robbins is like a huge one for me. He's like the OG personal development person. Like go to the source, you know.
Yeah.
I've gone to 2 of his seminars and I just like, I'm all about it. But I'm not like, I'm not the kind of person who like idolizes people or puts people on a pedestal. I'm like, I want to learn from you because you changed your life. What did you do to change your life so I could do it for myself? Um, and so that's what I get from books. You know, I don't want someone like talking at me or like being all preachy or like, I don't
Yes.
know, guru-y. Like I just want to hear from someone who's going to keep it real with me and like show me how they got to where they got and like give me some of their little nuggets in their brain, you know. That's kind of how I think about when I read stuff. Um but but before that I was like, I'm really into trilogies, and I haven't picked up like a fun book in a while,
Mhm.
unfortunately. Like I want to, but I haven't found like a good one. I There has to be good ones out there, but I'm kind of like, I like, oh my gosh, what's it called? Oh my gosh, I'm having a brain fart. Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Games and like Twilight and stuff like that. Like the books are so good. And with the trilogies, I'm just like, I'm gonna keep reading, keep reading, keep reading. I can't stop it. I'm like addicted to it. But it's been a while since I found a book like that gets me in, you know?
Yeah, I've been picking up mostly, actually, since I started this podcast, it's been like a lot of women's history and um, along those lines. I did find there's one, The Pieces of Her. It's by Karen Slaughter, and it's actually it's it's starting off really good. Like I've I was looking for a fun book,
Mm-hmm.
something like in between, because I'm just listening to all this information. Like I need something to kind of like smooth it out. And um, this one caught me. It's a little graphic, but so I'm hugely into like horror movies and yeah, I like slasher movies. I like it when shit blows up. I like, poltergeist, any kind of like religious demonology, any of that. I love that stuff. My husband hates it. It scares him half to death.
I
I'm
can't
totally
watch anything where there's like people crawling on the walls. Like, no thanks, bye. I can't do.
Oh, see, I don't know. I love that stuff. Or when stuff starts moving. Yeah. I love that stuff. I don't know why. And like it doesn't even bother me. Like it doesn't even faze me. I'll go right to sleep.
Yeah.
It's always been my favorite.
I used to really love that stuff, and then I don't know, I'm like such an empath that I like feel it too much, you know? And I
Yeah.
like give myself a heart attack.
Create that bubble. That's what I do. Like I just make a bubble. I
I
don't
have
know. It's been something I've done since like I was really little. I just put a bubble. And like each of my people have a bubble. Like I make them a little bubble and I'm just like, you're good. You've got my bubble. Like I don't know what it is. That's just something that like I've always felt and I'm like, as long as I put my little bubbles around you, you're fine.
I love that.
Yeah. I mean, getting into like you were talking about spirit guides and stuff like that. I've always been more on the spiritual side. I probably should look into that a lot more because I have no clear, it's just how I feel.
Yeah.
So that would be interesting to kind of research a little bit. Like I came from an interesting background. My mom is Baptist and my dad is LDS.
What is that?
Mormon.
Oh,
His
okay.
Yeah, LDS Mormon. So like I don't know, growing up was interesting. My dad wasn't so much religious, but my mom taught Sunday school.
Okay.
My mom still teaches Sunday school. My sister teaches Sunday school. And I was the black sheep.
Yeah.
In fact, I even got kicked out of Sunday school. Yeah, for asking too many questions. I was good at that. And contradiction. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But so
For you for being curious and asking questions. Bad on them for kicking you out for it because that's questionable.
that's what I thought. I was a teenager. I was in high school. I don't remember exactly what age, but yeah, it was like, that's messed up. Like, you're going to kick me out? Like, all I was doing was asking you, to explain a little more, because if you read a little further, you know,
Yeah.
we could seriously have a good conversation about this, because the lessons you were teaching, there's more to it, and let's read more.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it was interesting. And that was about as far as I had interest in church.
Yeah. Oh man, I had an experience in church and I went all in for a while there, a couple years. And I think it just like I needed something to hold on to.
Mm-hmm.
I had no support or like any sort of like knowing of who I am or confidence. I mean, I had confidence in myself in other ways, but like, I don't know. My family was not, I didn't have like a strong family. I didn't have a strong anything. So I really fell into that world because it felt like I had something or I was a part of something. And it was mostly good, but then my husband and I like love kids. We want to like be of service, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of good things. It was like a fun church. It was one of those like non-denominational, they say non-denominational Christian church. Like I don't really get it, but it was more like the mute like praise was like a rock band on stage, and it was like, like those
I
big,
got you. Yeah,
yeah.
we've got one of those here.
Yeah, so it was like that, and it was really fun. You could wear whatever you want. There wasn't much pressure, but then I realized that I had so much pressure on myself to like be perfect, and there was so much like, I mean, I just felt like I was always beating myself up, always telling myself I wasn't good enough, and just like there was this whole underlying energy to everything, and I feel like it didn't align with like what the message was on stage, but then like under it all, like under the belly, it was like judgment, like you have to
Yes,
be a certain way, like you can't do this, you can't do that, so many rules, and like it was just like opposite of what was portrayed, you know what I mean?
I know
And
exactly what you mean.
yeah, so I started like my husband and I were in the children ministry, like helping the kids. It was so much fun because we played games. We like a lot of the kids were from broken homes, which I can relate to, and like or in foster system and stuff like that. And so that was super fulfilling for us. Um, but then my husband and I got engaged, and we we were getting married, and he was we didn't live together, right? And he was diagnosed with cancer and had to get a bunch of surgeries and stuff. It was stage 3 appendix cancer. He was 23.
Oh man.
Uh, Crazy. Wait, right? 23? 22. And uh, whatever, something like that. Anyway, he was like, going through all these surgeries. He lived in his own apartment. I rented a room with a friend. And we both were in college, and like we both went to FAU in South Florida, and like he lived in Boca, which is like really close to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I lived like, I don't know, like 30 minutes away. And I was driving 30 minutes a day to get to school and to see my boyfriend. Um, and like help take care of him because his parents lived far away too, not far, but like 30-40 minutes away. He lived by himself, so like, I was like helping him, and
Yeah.
he had to get a bunch of surgery and stuff, and so I ended up moving in with him before we got married because it made sense, like
Right.
saving on rent. He needs help, like it just made sense.
Right.
We were getting married in like a freaking month. And everyone at the church knew, all the kids, like everyone knew. And after we had already moved in, like our friends told us that it was like it doesn't look good. And it was
Yeah.
like not a good move. And I was just like, really, left a really bad taste in my mouth. And we haven't been back to church since. So
Yeah. No, it's completely understandable. And I don't know, like I totally see, your point of view, and that's a similar thing kind of happened with my sister, but I don't know. To me there was always that like underlining judgment, and I think that's why church didn't work so well for me, like, and I still feel that like all the way into this day, and I've gotten no issue with other people being in church or all of that. Like, kudos to my family and
yeah,
them and
works
their
for you.
Sunday school. Yeah, whatever works for you.
Yeah.
It's just I didn't agree with it, and I didn't agree with the feeling and all of that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
And it's all okay. We're all still good people, even though we don't go to church.
Yeah. I mean, and you can be spiritual and not religious. I feel like the way I think about it now is I believe that like it's all like God is God. Like God is the universe energy. I don't think that there's a man upstairs, you know,
Yeah,
like
right?
dictating us and like there's one divine plan and like we have to do that or else or it's punishing us or I don't think that that's how it is. I think that's what man told us so we would fall in line.
Yeah.
Um, and that the world and people and our spirit is so much bigger than what a lot of religions like put on it. Um, I personally like kind of geared more towards like Buddhism in a way. I guess if I had to put like a description around it, I guess it could fall into that. But like, I really just don't follow any sort of anything. I'm just like, I believe that the universe is going to connect with me in whatever way that I'm connected. Like, I meditate, I pull cards, you know, I love nature. I connect through like energy through the ground and through the trees and being outside and animals and people. And I think that the messages that I get are from whatever way I'm going to receive it. And I think that's for everyone. So like some people really resonate with Christianity and that's how the universe is going to speak to them. Like whatever you I don't think there's one right way or wrong way, but I think whatever way you connect to is how you're going to receive the messages coming to you from the bigger spirit world because we're all spirits in a body. Like we all have that. And we're all connected to a bigger, I don't know what that looks like or what that even means. Like we're all connected to that and that will, you know, communicate it to us in whatever way we make sense of it. That's what I think.
I like that. That's pretty much how I feel, just in better words. All right. Do you have any tips or tricks to like reset?
Reset like in what
Like
way?
reset yourself, like if you're having a stressful day or um, you just need to reset and ground yourself. Do you have any tips or tricks you use?
Yeah. So first things first is I always turn to fitness. Um, I feel like getting a good workout in and like moving your body is such a great way to move energy because like if we're feeling stuck, sad, depressed, anxious, it's like an energy thing, right? And a
Mm.
mood thing. And so if we move our body, we're moving that energy. Plus we're releasing endorphins, which is like really good for you. It makes you feel good. So I think like that's always the first step for me. And even it doesn't have to be whatever workout is on my plan. Like sometimes I need a really hard hit workout because I'm like angry or something. I need to punch the air and I'm just like, you know, need to like jump and plyometric that shit and just like get it out, you know, and just like get
Yes.
out of my head and into my body. Um, and sometimes I need yoga, you know, it really just depends. And I like give I'm sorry if you can hear my dog chewing. He
No,
got a
it's
sweet,
totally okay.
he got a sweet potato and he's eating it in front of me. Like,
That's so funny.
and so that's like my first step. And then other things, you know, meditation. But if I'm anxious or angry, it really depends on the mood because some things like I'm not going to be able to sit down and like meditate. But I always do guided meditations so I don't get stuck in my own head, which I think a lot of people think they just need to sit down and like close their eyes and sit there. And they're like, I can't meditate, like I can't sit there in silence. Like you could do a guided meditation, you know, it's just like so
Yeah.
much easier, especially for those of us who have like squirrels running around in our brain. Um, and going outside for a good hike, talking to a friend. I mean, taking a hot bath, listening to some like really hard rock, like driving with the windows down, like scream singing in your car, like that's medicine.
All right.
So really, I mean, those are like some of my top things. I'll listen to like motivational music. Um, there's a lot of stuff on Spotify that like takes like motivational talks or speeches or whatever and like puts it on a track and like
Oh,
it's like hip hop and stuff. And I love that. So I listen to a lot of stuff like that on Spotify. Um, and yeah, I mean, it really just depends, but those are some of the things that really help me. So
very nice.
yeah.
Yeah. I think that's, I don't know, those are things I think a lot of people don't talk about so much. And I know for me, like, it's helped talk about them because there might be something that you do that, like, clicks all of a sudden and be like, oh, maybe I might try that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like I said, like, through this whole podcast, I'm finding it's helping me grow too. Like, I'm learning things and finding things and picking up on different things. It's
Mm-hmm.
nice. For sure. Um, do you have any empowered women that you look up to?
Yes. And I feel really good about that. I didn't grow up with any feminine role models. I mean, I grew up with a single mom, and she as a person was amazing, but she was an addict, and so she had like something else living inside of her that was not my mom, unfortunately. So I didn't have that. Um, so I didn't really have any female relationships or any sort of strong empowered women to look up to until I was like in my like 25, 26, like mid 20s. Um, and now, I mean, in my community of what I do with work, like there's a ton of women I look up to who have like completely built their life and like built it from rock bottom, and that's really empowering for me to see. Um, but like famous people that I look up to, that like everyone would know is like Oprah. I mean, obviously, she like came from nothing. That's like what I look up to. People, women who've like faced massive adversity and like completely designed their lives because they're like, no, bitch, I'm gonna do this, and they like screw the adversity and they use that as like a stepping stone to designing who they really are here to be, and I freaking love that. So like Oprah, Lizzo, if you know who Lizzo is,
No, so
she's like a hip hop pop artist. She's plus size and she freaking is amazing. Like she has blown up in like the last year. She's won a ton of awards recently, and so anyway, she shares a lot about like how she worked with her music like for years and years and years and years and years, and now she's blown up. And a lot of people think like, oh, you came out of nowhere. Look at you, like look at you, just like so lucky. But she grinded just like everyone does. So when people see people in success and they think they're lucky, I'm just like, bro, you have no idea. But Lizzo shares like on her social media like how she suffers with anxiety and depression, and also she'll do like throwbacks of when she had like 3 likes on her Instagram and like was spinning signs for I can't remember the company, but it's like the one where you wear like the Statue of Liberty.
oh,
um
like the tax, like Liberty tax or something like that.
yeah, something like that. And she was like a freaking sign spinner for them like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, like not that long ago.
Yeah.
And now she's like opening for, what was it, the Grammys or something. Like so I really look up to her. Ellen DeGeneres, she's faced a ton of adversity as well. Lady Gaga, she's just like so unique and so herself, and like continues to show the world that like by being you 100% authentically, you can do anything you want to do. And she's always reinventing herself, and I just really look up to that. So, I mean, those are my like famous people, but I feel really lucky to be surrounded by a lot of women nowadays that I can look up to, and that there's social media and the internet where we can get connected with like people who inspire us and have mentors that we don't even need to know in real life, but they can mentor us through their books, through their podcasts, through their talks and whatever, and that we can have access to that for free. I mean, it's pretty incredible.
Absolutely. It's an amazing thing. I mean, I find all of my guests basically mostly on Instagram.
Yeah.
Instagram seems to be the easiest so far.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've met some crazy people just talking to them over the internet. Like last weekend I interviewed she's a training coach for Jermaine I forget how to say her last name. But she just fought Amanda Nunes on UFC like out here in Las Vegas. Like it was a huge fight. And like I was talking to her and she lives in the Netherlands.
That's
And
amazing.
yeah, it was so fun. I was like, I reached all the way across the world, you know? And then me and my husband, we went like we were watching the fights because I was like, we gotta see this, like,
Yeah.
you know, and we saw her up on stage like holding the flag up and you know, the girl that she's training with, like, she did amazing. Like she lost, but she did absolutely amazing. Like, you know, and it's just crazy like to meet all these different people and all these amazing things they do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Cool.
right? Is there a time that you felt most empowered?
um, you know, I feel like there's a couple pivotal moments, but I was thinking like in the time of life that I was in at the time, I feel like I felt so empowered when I like ran for the first time. Um, and so here's why. So I moved out of my house when I was 18, and I was like drinking like a crazy person. Uh, I smoked a pack a day. I smoked weed like 24/7, and I was just like a complete hot mess. I never worked out a day in my life. I was eating McDonald's every day. Like I was saying, I drank Coke for like every liquid source if it wasn't alcohol. And like I didn't play sports. I didn't work out. Like I just was existing and partying and like, so it was like me deciding to step outside for a run when I didn't even own a sports bra. I had like a push-up bra on and like sweatpants because that's all I wore was like sweatpants and like high tops and baggy shirts. I was completely out of shape. I could barely run from like here to the wall without dying. Okay. So it was like, I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm sick of feeling like this, sick of feeling trapped in my body. Like, I turned 18, so I was able to go to clubs for the first time, and I lived in South Florida, and clubbing is like a big thing. And so I was like, I want to feel sexy like a woman. And I was always a tomboy, and I also wasn't comfortable in my body, so I wore baggy clothes. And so I remember like getting, I don't know why I thought this was a good idea, but I like bought a corset and like low waist jeans. Okay.
Yeah.
Not in shape. I was,
Yeah.
no muscle mass, just, and I decided this is what I'm going to wear. And it was mortifying. And I couldn't wear that, obviously. I was like a stuffed sausage. Like, it was just weird. There's like certain clothes you wear for your body type. That's what I wanted my body type to be.
Yeah.
It was not. So I had to come to grips with reality at the time and wear something totally different. But, it kind of like made me realize I'm not who I am. Like, I'm not, who even am I? What am I doing? So, like, taking that scary step to leave my house by myself, to run outside by myself. I didn't have music in my ears. I didn't have like a fitness outfit. And I just started running. And so that was like the first step to me choosing myself, to me choosing my wellness and like choosing my future over my past. And you know, that choice, because we all have a choice, and a lot of us fall victim to a victim mindset and saying, this is how I was raised, this is their fault, they did this to me, this, I'm like this because of them, and they continue to perpetuate the habits of their family, of their youth, and how they grew up, and they bring it on down the line to all their kids, and they bring it down the line. And I'm just like, it stops here. Like, I'm not perpetuating this anymore. And so I didn't know that at the time that's what I was doing. I just wanted to friggin' be different. I didn't know that it was going to be an empowering moment, but like, looking back, that was like really freaking cool, you know, to
Yeah,
just like choose the unknown of what I could create in my life, you know?
absolutely. That's amazing. That is a whole entire like leap, and you did it. You know, because that is like every people get stuck in the mindset, like the cycle. I don't even really know about like the victim mindset because you don't even sometimes I think notice that you're there.
Yeah.
Like I've been stuck there, you know, and I've had to take a hard look at myself a few times, and it's a tough cycle that you get stuck in and you don't realize you're there and you don't realize you can get out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
most definitely. That's one of the things that I love about this little project that I'm doing is it can bring somebody out of that mindset. Hopefully I do. I hope that I do help people come
Yeah.
out of that mindset. You know, I'm definitely getting a lot deeper and bringing myself out of, you know, where I was.
Yeah.
And it's definitely something that is good and
Yeah.
awesome, and I hope it continues.
Yeah. I think it's really beautiful what you're doing because, like, people, I think that there's power in our stories. Like, we don't have to be Oprah to have a powerful story, you know? Like, we
Absolutely.
all have a powerful story. And I think, like, we are a community based um, species, and, like, we need to hear each other's stories. Like, you think about the Indians, or, like, anybody from, like, prior to, you know, our, what we know of the world. Um, and they told stories, like,
Yes.
telling stories of their life is like what has helped people all these years and generations. And I think we forget, and we're like, oh, we're not good enough, or our story is not good enough, or don't even think about it. And I just think it's really powerful that you're bringing all these people to share their story and give that to the world, because people can hear it and become empowered themselves. It's awesome.
Yes, thank you. It's really, I don't know, it's blooming and I'm enjoying doing it. And I wasn't even sure where I was going with any of this, you know.
That's
And
the best part. I love it.
right? It is. It's cool. It's kind of just unfolding, and I've always kind of been that way, like things are just how they are, and
Mm-hmm.
just let it unfold and be.
Yeah.
And I like it. It's
Yeah.
really awesome. Um, any words of advice for a younger generation?
um Yeah, so I wrote this down because I didn't want to forget. Uh, so what I would say is, like, you already have what it takes inside of you. Um, so often we look to everyone else to tell us who we are, and to tell us what we are here to do, and to tell us what we're capable of. And all the greats are the ones who told them what they're capable of. They told themselves who they are, what they're capable of, what they can do, because no one knows, nobody else knows your spirit and what you're here for. Like, you know that. So it's important to tap in and like give yourself the credit and stop giving so much power to everyone else. I think it's important to look to others as proof that you can find greatness. Like, I look to Oprah and Lizzo and like Lady Gaga and Ellen, like, as inspiration, to as proof that you can come up and face adversity and like come out on the other side, and like other people's stories, like, as proof. And then like connect to who you are and like find the power within, because that's where it is. It's nowhere else. Like, nobody, like, how dare anybody tell you who you are, because nobody knows. Like, you are the only person on this planet who could dare say anything about who you are and who you're going to become. So it's all in, baby.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, I was just talking to my daughter about this a little bit, and I think it's important, like, as a parent, to not tell them who they are or what they are, or know they can't do stuff.
Yeah.
Like, of course, you don't want them to do anything that's dangerous or isn't right, but to kind of feed what they're coming out with, and because they're their own people. Like,
Yeah.
we're just here to protect them and make sure that they stay alive and they eat.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely, I'm working with her. She's 14, and she's getting into that teenager phase. And, you know, encouraging her, like, you can do whatever you want to do. Like, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? Like, you don't have very far before you're an adult.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. It seems like it's a far away, but it's not that far away.
4
And
years.
yes.
That's crazy.
It is. It's crazy to think about. She's 14 now, but in 4 years she's going to be 18 and be an adult. And it's crazy to think about. And just trying to, like, prepare her and get her to think about things. Like, she wants to go to UCLA, and I'm like, okay, well, let's go look at UCLA and see. Like, just because you want to go there doesn't mean that they're gonna be like, okay, come on, like, let's go see what UCLA's got to say. Yeah. So it's definitely helping me, I think, this podcast too, like, figuring out and letting her know. And it's most definitely, you can be whatever you want to be. You just have to get yourself there, and don't listen to other people.
Yeah.
They're always going to discourage. They're always going to hate.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Use the hate as fuel to the fire, man.
For real. Yes.
There's definitely going to be adversity, but, and haters and whatever, but.
Yeah. See, I wish I would have had that advice or thought of that when I was younger, because I would definitely be in a whole nother place.
Yeah. But you're here now, and like,
yeah,
it's not over.
It's not over. It's not over now. No. All right. And the very last bit, an inspirational quote that you use in a hard time.
So it's so cliche, but like, do your best and forget the rest is always what I tell myself. Like, it's so little, and it's actually from Tony Horton, who's the creator of P90X. He says, do your best and forget the rest. And it's just always been, I mean, not always, but for the past few years, it's like something that I always just tell myself, because it's easy to compare yourself to other people and think you're not far enough or not doing enough or whatever. And I'm like, all I can do is all I can do, you know? And so, yeah, I mean, it's just like short and sweet, but that's really the only thing I could think of that I ever say to myself over and over again.
That's good though. I mean, the shorter short and sweet ones always are clean and simple, like,
Yeah.
and it works.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Well, that concludes my podcast. Thank you for being on here. And
Thank
thank
you for.
your puppy for making some awesome background noises.
Oh, there's gonna be a huge mess to clean up. I'm not looking forward to it. He got into my coconut oil just now, so.
Oh, that's fun.
Oh my gosh.